Okay, let's get rocking and rolling. I got this recorded. All right, so just like I mentioned on our conference call, or not a conference call, on the title of this thing. Hold on, I got it. You can text me. All right. So I was at the Cincinnati meeting, and I was going to cover one topic, but then I felt like I needed to cover another topic, and it ended up turning into the subject we're going to talk about today, because someone asked me about, kind of the sales process and the problem they're having with the think about it stall. How do you get around the think about it, right? And so, I thought, last night at the Cincinnati meeting, I don't know if I could reproduce it. I don't know if I could reproduce the talk because it just flowed out. It was great. So I started going down this road. I've taught this before, but not in as much detail of the think about it stall. Everyone gets it now and again. Like the top people really don't get it. Like the top, and a lot of it is kind of reproducing their vibe in the sales situation in the home. Sometimes it's hard to duplicate. Sometimes you can't just explain it. Sometimes you have to go see someone do it, but they hardly ever get to think about it, right? And it's funny how when you go up to a conference and you ask like a Brant Swindell, so Brant Swindell, how do you handle the think about it? And honestly, he's going to kind of stare at you. Huh. I haven't got that one in a while. Now, don't get me wrong, they don't close 100%. They for lots of reasons, but it's not because of a think about it, right? There are other reasons why they don't close, but it's not going to be because of a think about it. Well, Alex, that's the only reason why I don't close, because I always get to think about it. It's like, well, you're doing something wrong, okay? So let me explain the psychology, that maybe you're running into, is that you're kind of reinforcing that psychology in the sales process, right? So, so let me kind of get into the mindset that I was in last night, because last night just kind of flowed out, man. Sometimes I wish I could reproduce exactly what I did, but it was kind of in the heat of the moment type of thing. All right, so we have this thing called the Alliance Training Manual, right? The Alliance Training Manual, okay? And this is how we do it. All right, so the 5 phases of a sale when it comes to the Alliance Training Manual, okay? So maybe I'll just kind of do it like this. We're still repairing my electronic whiteboard. All right, so just as a summary. You have the bond and rapport. Then you got the pain finding pain. Then you got the upfront contract. I've got gazillion videos on this. Then we got the fulfillment. Fulfillment. Golly, that is just really bad. Which means you're showing them prices. And the final section is the post-sale, okay? So that is our ATM submarine, modeled after Sandler Sales System submarine, which has 7 sections. We only use 5 of them because it's conformed to our lead program. So remember the 5 phases in the sales process. The bond rapport is to build trust with them, and so that they believe you, okay? The pain process is finding out why they need to do this, okay? What is it important about this program? The upfront contract is getting a commitment or smoking out any objections, then everything else, the fulfillment is showing them the prices, they pick a price, and the post-sale is locking down that sale. Like I said, I've got a ton of videos on this. I'm not going to reproduce all of that teaching here, all right? But I'm going to, the whole idea, the whole mode of this teaching is about how to get rid of the think about it stall. Why do you get that? Why does that prevent you from closing? Well, the bottom line, okay, that prevents you from closing, you get to think about it, is because you're making this a big deal. You're making this a major decision, right? You're thinking that if I'm going to get them locked into this, and I'm going to make this, I'm going to close this. So all of a sudden you put a bunch of pressure on the client, right? You put a bunch of pressure on the client to close the deal by making them make a big decision. In their mind, it's a big decision. So let's define big decision. A big decision is deciding if you want to buy this house or not. Honey, should we buy this house? Well, let's just sit on it. Let's think about that. Should we put an offer on this house? That's a big decision. You think they got to sleep on that one? Absolutely. Let's think about it. Yeah, because they don't know if this is the house you should put an offer on, because when you put an offer on the table, you're committing to purchase that house if they accept the offer. That's a huge decision. Think about when you got married. Should I marry this person or not? I know remember you were dating your spouse, and there's sort of this unsaid thing that in your mind you're thinking, golly, man, I'd like to marry this person. And he's thinking, man, I'd like to marry her. But you don't you kind of hint around it, you start dancing around it, and all of a sudden you start talking about future and permanent and kids, and then you start talking about, well, what kind of ring? So you sort of asked it without asking, right? But you're thinking about, there's a point where you're thinking, should I marry this person or not? Yeah, you can't just, it's not like Bachelor or Bachelorette. Life doesn't work like that. It's a huge decision, right? What college should we send our child to? You don't just make a snap decision in one night. The college counselor comes over to your house. I'm being facetious, but okay, let's sign you up. Let's take your application for Princeton, and let's get the financial aid filled out so we can lock your kid into Princeton, and you don't know if you want to pay $75,000 a year. Well, I'll tell you what, let's think about it, because that's a major decision. See what I'm saying? So your problem is you're making this sales thing a big decision for your client. You're putting all this pressure on them to make this massive decision, right? And then they want to say, well, Alex, I appreciate the information. We're just going to really have to think about it, right? And you're all mad because it's oh my gosh, I got another think about it. Because you're putting all this pressure on them to make this huge decision in their mind, right? And then they don't really maybe trust you because you're putting all this pressure on them. And they don't trust you because you're telling them what to do. So you're so hung up on trying to close a deal that you're telling them what to do. Well, Joe, I really think, in my professional opinion, that you really do need to spend $250 on this policy because it's such a great policy. It's going to provide all these living benefits. You're going to get all these Forster's member benefits, the orphan thing, the tuition thing, the free legal advice, the free financial budgeting help. You're going to get all this stuff, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that, and this is why you need to protect your family, because you love your family. Because it's all about you. You make it all about you because you're telling them everything that you got to do. They got to do so that you can make money. Oh, Alex, you're being so harsh and so hard. Okay, let me do it in a kinder, gentler voice. So all of y'all that get offended because I'm getting on your case because you're doing something stupid, so let me do it in my nice voice. How do I do that in my nice voice? Okay, reset. You have to work with their self-interest. People do things because it benefits them. They don't do things because it benefits you, right? So therapists, what they would typically do in helping someone is ask them questions, because it's all about self-discovery. With a therapist or a psychiatrist or psychologist, it's all about you discovering the things that are holding you back in your life by asking questions. See, it's more effective for you to figure it out, them to guide you with the questions, but you to figure it out by answering those questions. And you know what? It's a powerful breakthrough when you figured it out, not for them to tell you what's wrong with you. Does that make sense? So they're not going to tell you, well, it's because of that traumatic event in your life where you felt abandoned by your parents that today you have abandonment issues of people leaving you. And that's why you put so much pressure on your relationships for people to stay with you, because you're afraid that they're going to leave you. Or because of your abandonment issues back when you were a kid, you're finding it very hard to create a close relationship with another person because you're afraid they're going to leave you, okay? They're not going to tell you that, right? They're going to ask you, so tell me more about, like, you're telling me that you felt like really alone, and you felt like, you know, when your dad divorced your mom and he left you, and then your mom had to go into rehab, and then you had to be raised by your grandmother. How did that make you feel? What kinds of decisions do you think you've made of your life because of that, you know, that thing that happened to you, right? And then just going to keep asking questions. Oh, time's up. Okay, let's mark this down and let's pick this up next week when we get together, right? And also they're guiding you to have that self-discovery. It's like, oh my gosh, every time I had a relationship, it's because of boom, boom, boom. They start drawing the dots for you, but you had to start from there and draw the dots yourself. He didn't tell you the answer. He let you discover it, or she let you discover it through questions. Does that make sense? People only do what's in their own self-interest. They don't do what's good for you. They do what's good for them, right? That's when you tell them what to do, they don't believe you. But when they discover what they ought to do, it comes out of their own mouth, and you say, wow, okay, we can help you with that, right? That's all this is. This is a self-discovery process by your client making small decisions, a series of small decisions, instead of one big massive decision to take care of take care of their families so that you can make money off them. Does that make sense? Okay, now I'm going into my serious voice, my urgent voice. I don't mean to be like that, but I'm wanting to shake you and say, come on, do you realize what you're doing? It's all about you, not about them. In the sales situation, it's all about them, guiding them to what they ultimately want to do. So now remember, the best closers in my history of doing this 19 years, they close 7 out of 10 people they sit, 70% close rate. Okay, now don't get fooled by other people out there that count the number of apps they write over the number of the homes they sat with, okay? For them, that's close rate. I call that fake rate. That's not a close rate. Alex, I wrote 10 apps and I sat down with 10 homes. I have 100%. It's like, Bo, no you don't. You have 10 apps. How many homes did you actually close? Well, I closed 7. Okay, so that is a 70% close rate. You just happen to average like 1.2 apps per home. That's what the numbers really are. So don't like fake yourself out. Remember, the 11th commandment I talked about yesterday is thou shalt not fooleth thyselfeth. Don't fool yourself. In my 19 years, I've never had anyone better than closing 7 out of 10 sits. So I think now that new lead program we have like a 90% close rate on those. So I think running more of those I think our close rate might go up. Maybe it goes up to 75%. But those particular leads, I can't disclose the title of them because we've got our competitors trying to wonder what the heck we're doing to produce so many leads. We don't want to give that up. So with that lead program, we've got like an 80, 90% close rate. So this might go up to 75%. It's still a smaller portion of the leads we generate, right? But 70% of the sits is about the highest they've ever seen. So what that says is that 30% of people, they are pretenders. They don't deserve to be your client. Alex, what does that mean? I should close everybody. No, you shouldn't. Because there are consequences of arm twisting people for a sale, because they're going to cancel their policy, you're going to get charged back, you're going to get mad, and you're going to get upset, and you're going to feel like, you know, this system sucks. It's like, dude, what you did was you closed the 30% that don't need to be clients. See, this is a filter process. This ATM is a filter process. It filters the righteous clients, the ones that love their families, and it filters out the people that don't love their families. I don't want to be friends with people that don't love their families. I don't want to be friends with people that don't take care of their families. I want to be friends with the people that love their families, right? And this ATM, going through the ATM submarine process, will help you filter out the 30% pretenders, okay? But a lot of you are confusing the ones you don't close, right? That you should close them. And the answer is no, you should not. You're doing okay when you're not closing people, right? The process filters out the pretenders. Now here's what happens though. Your new agents start off at about 55% close rate. And then as they get better and better by coming to the events, getting around the top producers, by reading books, by taking advantage of our system, attending all the webinars that Andy Albright does and the Alliance does, right, and training opportunities like this, you start moving 55% to 70%. And some of y'all, you know, 55% is an average. Some of y'all are 45% or 30%, right? So this is the room for improvement. This is where all the money profitability is. Going from 55 to 70, you're going to be minimally profitable at 55%. But when you improve, you get to 70%. Here is where everything counts. You're probably getting more think about it's here. You're not closing, you're closing 55%, but there's another 15% that you're not closing. That 15% is over here. Now, it's not 45%, you know, 30% of that 45% you didn't close are this category of people that don't deserve to be your client, right? So how do you know the difference? The difference is you're tweaking it up with our sales process so that you're filtering out the pretenders, okay? So what we're talking about here is not closing these people. We're talking about closing more of these people, even, or if you're below 55%, let's like more people to get you towards 70, wherever you are, right? Okay, so here's the thing. People do what's in their best interest. They do what's in their self-interest. So don't be telling them what to do. You ask questions. You're the psychiatrist. You're the psychologist. You're the therapist trying to get them to discover how much they love their families and that it doesn't make sense to let this decision go. It doesn't make sense to think about it, right? It doesn't make sense. So what you do is you're letting them make small decisions. People, it's easier for people to make small decisions than large decisions, okay? Every little small decision leads them down the path, Small decision, yes, Alex, yes, Alex, yes, Alex, yes, Alex, yes, yeah, that sounds good. Uh-huh, yeah, let's do that. Okay, how about this? Yeah, looks good to me, boom. And you get to the point where they have protected their families with a policy that's issued, paid, and placed, that stays on the books for their life until they die, or for however long the term is. Series of small decisions, boom, 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 boom. And it's all here. These are all the little decisions along the way. These are all the little decisions along the way. Our sales process with the ATM is how we guide them through the small decisions. Well, Alex, what do you mean by small decisions? You're on the phone. Hey, Joe. Joe? I mean, that's how I do mine. Joe? Yeah. Who's this? Hey, Joe. This is Alex, the Mortgage Protection Department. And I received that form you sent in looking for some coverage on your mortgage. And my job is to just verify the information first. Okay, now, I got your birth date. It's 10/26/1970. Is that correct? Small decision is, does he believe me that I am who I am? Number two, the next small decision is he going to answer my question? That's a small, tiny decision. That tells me what kind of person I have. If he's anticipating my call, if this is an A-lead and I'm jumping on it, I call it right away. He says, yeah, okay, where are you from again? Yeah, the Mortgage Protection Department. This has to do with your Union Savings Bank loan of $175,000. Oh, yeah. I'm just verifying the information on the phone, on the form. You wrote down on this form, and I'm trying to read it, that your birth date is 10/26/1970. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. What you did was let him make a small decision on answering your questions, verifying the information. When he says, well, yeah, that's right, then it gives me permission to ask another question so he can make another decision on whether or not he trusts me. So when I'm on the phone booking an appointment, I'm trying to gain his trust. I got to get to make a little decision that, can he trust me that I have something that he filled out, right? So I have your height and weight is 5'11", 176. Looks like a 6, 176 pounds. Is that right? You see what I'm saying? I can read it. It says 176 pounds. But I'm trying to let him know that I'm reading a form that he filled out. Sometimes I'll say, man, it's hard to read your writing. You see what I'm saying? It's hard for me to read your writing. And what I'm implying is that he wrote this. He sent this in. He's starting to believe that I got something that he filled out that he sent to me, right? And he's making that little decision that I've got credibility, so he's going to answer my question. Does that make sense? Some of y'all are just trying to slam the freaking appointment, and you're not building any kind of credibility with him. All of a sudden, it's a big decision on, I don't know if I trust this guy. I tell you what, why don't you just, tell you what, let me call you back and I'll let you know when I'm ready. Well, because you blew it. You blew it because you tried to make this huge decision on him, and I'm trying to get small decisions. I'm trying to gain his trust. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm getting pretty insane about this because some of y'all are just totally blowing it, especially on A-leads. It drives me crazy, okay? Because you're losing money, because you're putting too much pressure on them. So I've got you at 5'11", 170. I can't read it. Is that 6? 100? Are you 176 pounds? Oh, yeah. I'm a terrible writer. Yeah, 176 pounds. Okay. And then it shows here that you're a non-smoker. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, now I've got Mary here. I've got her birth date is March 3rd of 1976. Is that correct? Yeah. And I think it says here that she's 5'2", 100, and is that 17 pounds or 119 pounds? See, because people mess up 7s all the time. Sometimes they make 7s look like 9s or make 9s look like 7s. See, you got to remember, I've done this a long time. I've seen this. Sometimes I can't read whether it's a 5 or a 3, right? I try to mess up the ones that are commonly messed up, right? So, is that a 7 or a 9? Oh, 127. Okay, great. And I show that she's also a non-smoker. Yeah. See what I'm doing? Now he's starting to trust me. He sees that I have a form. Okay, I verified the address. By the way, okay, I've got your address as blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's right. Great. Now, the mortgage amount of $175,000, was that did you get that a 15-year or 30-year term? I got that, it's actually 30 years. Okay, great. I had someone ask me, well, why do you ask that question? Do you ask it for a reason? It's like, yeah, I really don't ask it for, to prepare me to go in there. I ask it because it's another question for them to answer, right? I'm locking myself in there because I'm starting to interact. I'm engaging with them. they're starting to trust me. It's another level of trust I'm trying to develop with them. So was that a 15 or 30? You plan on paying it off early? And he says, yeah, I mean, we got a 30, but we plan on paying it off early. Okay, sometimes I want to know that, because when I go in there, I'm going to show them a 15-year term, maybe, or something of that nature. I know that maybe they're wanting to pay it off early. You know, it helps me actually with proposal preparation, but it's another way to get their trust. See, on the phone call, I'm starting to develop these little nuggets of decisions, right? As part of the bond and rapport. The phone call comes before the appointment process, but check, little decision made, check, little decision made, check, little decision made. And I say, well, okay, so they have me working your area. Okay, it makes me sound like I'm coming from afar. You know, I'm a wise man coming from afar. And so they have me come over. Well, I tell them, I'm going to be in your area Thursday and Friday. I could probably be there between 7 and 8 o'clock. This only takes about 15 minutes. But 7 and 8 o'clock, is that going to be good with you? I swing by, both you and Mary going to be there? Yeah, we're going to be there. Okay, so I sense, right, that he wants me to come over, but there's a little hesitation. I say, oh, okay, well, I sense there's a little hesitation in your voice. Does that mean that maybe you're not going to be there? Like, I'm going to call it out. Why would I want to? Just like, if I hear it, if I sense it, I'm going to say it. I'm not going to fake myself out and show up, you know, at 7. They're not going to be there, because then I'm going to ask them. So I hear a little hesitation there. Are you not going to be there, or are you going to be there? Because, well, we're probably just getting back from soccer practice. Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Is it okay to shift maybe 7:30 to 8:30? Yeah. 7:30. We'll definitely be home by 7:30. Okay, rock on, man. So I'll be there at 7:30. Now I've got your address here. What color is your house? Again, I'm asking, you know, these little decisions, because I want them to know I'm coming over. Okay, what side of the street? Say I'm coming from the south. What side of the street your house on? What is the light going to be on, or is it going to be hard to see your numbers? Is your numbers on your mailbox, on your garage? What color? What type of cars are going to be in the driveway, so I know you're home? Okay, great. Now I'm going to be driving a gray Lexus LS 450. So I just want you to know that, you know, it's not some stranger coming up to your house. Whatever, right? They have me coming to their house. They made little decisions to have me come over. Now I come into their house. I shake their hands. I take my shoes off. Little decisions. I knock on the door, right? And they're home. Or ring the doorbell. They're home. They open the door to me. I walk in. Hey, how you doing? Okay, now they're trying to decide if they should trust me or not. So they got to make a decision on me. So I take my shoes off. Boom, small decision. Oh, he respects my house. I wipe my feet before going into the house. Oh, he respects my house. And then their dogs come running up to me, and I pet the snot out of their dogs. I love animals, and animals seem to love me, right? I get this all the time. I'm loving on their dog. I'm getting on my knees, and I'm like petting them. I tell them, man, my wife won't let me have a dog at home. I just love dogs, and I'm petting them. And man, the best bond and rapport technique is loving on their pets. Now, every dog loves me, okay? So I have the benefit of that. I don't know what that is, because I get this all the time. It's like, wow, he never does that to any stranger. They're like, yeah, I don't know. I get this dog whisperer thing, I guess. Well, that's just me. I just love animals, man. Plus, pets sense fear. The pets I run into, they sense yearning to have one of them. You know, I want to steal you because you're so cute. Anyway, that's sort of that genuineness. Now they're starting to like me a lot because I'm loving on their pets or whatever. Anyway, small decisions they're making in the bond and rapport. I'm asking them questions on the bond and rapport, which are, you know, I go through my slides, I tell them a little bit about us, tell them a little bit about me, ask them about them, you know, all the stuff that we talk about. But when I ask them about them, when I start asking them questions about them, are they going to answer it? So I met my wife doing community theater. It was a lot of fun. We did the musical Grease and whatever. So how did you guys get together? If they answer that question, then you're in. Then bond rapport is happening. And say, well, yeah, we kind of met, you know, we met each other in college. How much is this going to cost? It's like, oh, crap. You just didn't gain their trust yet. It's like, yeah, we're going to get down. You know, that's on page 5. I'm still on page 1. You know, so like, what college do you guys go to? Right, I'm going to find out more about them. And if they start telling me, they tell me the funny story when they were in a bar or whatever, then I see what I'm saying. They're deciding whether or not to trust you. If they like you, then they start disclosing more about them. And they tell the funny story. And if you get them laughing, man, it's rocking, right? Small decisions. So that's a bond rapport. I tell them about my kids. Man, your family's, you got 5? It's like, oh yeah, I got 5, man. I don't know what I was thinking. I love them. They're great. You're creating rapport with them because they know that you love your family and they love their family. You're trying to show them, I'm not just a sales guy. I'm a guy that has a wife and children that I love, right? And I show them. So this is all credibility, the companies I represent, okay? I try to get their financial picture, which is another test of making a small decision. Should I disclose my personal information? So what I do here is I start off with the lead and I confirm their height and weight. Now, okay, I just want to reconfirm. I got your height and weight. Small decisions of getting their personal information that they already disclosed. Again, a small decision for them to answer those questions. Okay, now I'm asking medications. So I'm starting to ask more deeper questions that start testing my trust level, their trust level with me. They got to decide if they're going to answer my medication questions, right? It's all testing it. Operations, how long have you been with your company? Just ballpark. How much money do you make? Just ballpark. It's all part of the application process. Like the rest of this stuff, right? I'm going to go through. If I get through this and they give me out every information, man, they are making more and more little decisions, marching us down this path, right? And then we get to the pain questions. Why is this important? So we're marching. Now we're at the pain questions. Why is this important? So Joe and Mary, take me back to when you filled this form out. And I pull the form out, which I don't have one like right here, but I pull the lead out and I show it to them. And I slide in front of them. Okay, and then I ask the pain question. Take me back to when you filled this out. Were you like right here at the kitchen table? Take me back to when you filled this out. What were you thinking? What was on your mind? Okay, so I'm trying to change their state to the state they were in when they filled it out because there was something on their mind when they filled it out. So I'm trying to take them back, because today he had a bad day at work. She had a rough time with the kids. They had just been a little bickering before I showed up, right? So I'm trying to change their state. Part of that changing state is the bond rapport, asking them how they met. I'm trying to take them back to when they fell in love with each other. I'm trying to recreate that feeling of, even though we were bickering half an hour ago, I really love you. I'm trying to bring that feeling back. And then another way of bringing that feeling is, take me back to when you filled this out. Remember, there's a lot of psychology here. Again, I'm going into teaching these sections. I've got so many videos on each section. But taking them back to when they filled it out. Why? Because I'm trying to get them to make little decisions on answering my pain questions. The depth of the pain questions, like, so Mary, Joe dies tomorrow on I-675 here. You're going to lose his income, aren't you? Yes. So tell me, are you going to be able to make the mortgage payment? It's going to be hard. Okay, so define hard. Like, I'm sure you have savings that could probably pay it for a few months, right? 6 months to a year? Oh, no. Oh, okay. How long do you think you can make your mortgage payment from your savings? Now, I know that most Americans hardly have any savings to dip into. Most people don't have a 6-month emergency fund of income. I already know that, but I'm going to make them tell me that they are going to have trouble. They're going to tell me because I'm asking them questions. See, when I ask a question, they have to make a small decision on whether to answer it truthfully, to drill down deeper to the emotional reason why they need this. So I'm going to start asking question after question. So I'm sure your parents will probably help you out make this mortgage payment, right? How long can they do that? Oh, my parents, there's no way they can do. Oh, okay. How about his parents? Oh, there's no way. Oh, okay. So how long do you think it would take you before the bank forecloses on your property? Ugh. I said the F word, the foreclosure word. I'm asking it kindly, gently, with my nurturing voice. I'm not trying to be harsh with them. I'm just trying to get them to answer the question. They make a little decision to start opening up their heart to me, opening up their emotions to me. They make that small decision to trust me more, that they're going to disclose what they're going to do. And it's hard. This stuff is hard. I feel uncomfortable asking it. They feel uncomfortable answering it. That's how you know you're rocking, because the uncomfortableness. And then I turn to Joe. Joe, how does that make you feel that your family's going to have to go through that? And then you make Joe the hero. Joe answers the question, again, making another decision whether or not to share with me what he really feels. It's like, well, that's not going to happen because I don't want that to happen. That's, why you're here. I said, exactly. That's why I'm here, right? That is the most important thing you could ever say. That's why I'm here. So this never happens to your family, Joe. Mary, that's why I'm here. So this never happens. It's kind of an embedded command. It's an NLP thing. Man, I'm not going to go into that. I just want to, but I can't. I got to make this short. It's the psychological trick. Man, I'm full of it. I'm full of it. Yeah, I am full of it. It's a Jedi mind trick. That's why I'm here. I'm going to make sure that never happens to you. That's why I'm here. I'm going to make sure that never happens to you, because I'm going to help you get the protection you want for your family. That's an embedded command psychologically in their head. You're telling them what they're going to do. You're suggesting what they're going to do to their family. Dadgummit, I'm sorry. I could spend another hour on that psychological technique, but just repeat my words. You're going to be better off. Okay, so now the next decision is, that's why I'm here. I'm going to make sure that never happens to your family. Boom. You got them to make another little decision. The next little decision is the upfront contract. Okay? And so in the upfront contract, this is where I lock down. This is where I get commitment from them. This is where I get a little decision. This is where some of y'all are blowing it, because you're telling them what's going to happen. They're going to spend all this money, and then they're going to take care of their families, and it's this huge thing when it's a little thing. So this is where you make this a little mega small decision of the next step to move forward in the process. This process of marching down the road to get here. Okay? But this is where you get to think about it. But this is where you want to get all the stalls and all the objections, is the upfront contract. So the upfront contract, you turn the lead over and you say, okay, so let me tell you what happens next so that you can take care of your family. And this is how I'm going to help you do that. Okay, remember, you take care of, you're using words, you will take care of your family. The command that you're subconsciously implanting in their mind is, you will take care of the family through what I'm going to help you do. You're saying those words, and there's a bunch of words in between that fake them out, but psychologically you're hearing me say that I am going to take care of my family because Alex is going to help me do it. Golly, man, I want to teach it, but I'm not going to teach it here. So the upfront contract, you tell them, okay, Joe and Mary, so this is what's going to happen next. So this is the what happens next slide. This slide here, this is what happens next. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I like to draw things out. Okay. And then from these questions, I'm going to find out about your health. You gave me information on financial situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together basically 3 options for you. So I draw a little version of what's going to be in the slide. I'm going to explain the options. I'm going to tell you what they cost. This is option 1, 2, and 3. Explain the options, what it's, the premium. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to give me your best guess as which option is the one that you can afford and that you like. Okay. So you're going to pick one. So let's say it's 2. Everyone picks the middle one. Okay. I'm not going to say 3 because it makes me look like I'm trying to maximize my income. And I can pick number 1, it's the second one. Okay. So you're going to like this one. And this one is the one we're going to try to apply for. We're going to try to apply for. We're going to see if they approve it. Okay, so what we're going to do from here is we're going to fill out an application electronically, if you're going to do an e-app, And then you're going to tell me yes, no, maybe so, whatever. You're going to answer the questions, okay? Because what we're trying to do is we're going to try to get you qualified. Now, gosh, you're a great couple. I wish I could approve it right here, but unfortunately I can't, because we got to send this application into the insurance company, okay? And the big old insurance company out there is going to think about you. They're going to think about you. So tonight, Joe and Mary, is not a think about it night. Tonight, there's nothing to think about until you know that you're approved. So we have to go through this process of getting you approved first, and then you have something to think about. Does that make sense? So tonight, you know, you can't tell me you think about it because this is not the time to do that. You can tell me you think about it after we know that we got you approved, all right? So that's the process. If they approve you, which, man, I hope so, if they say yes, then what they're going to do is they're going to assemble the policy, okay, and this is your policy. And then I'm going to come back, draw myself here, and I'm going to help you understand what's in your policy. At this point, after they deliver your policy, which could be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then I'm going to come back. I'm going to open it up with you and make sure it's got everything in it that you wanted. Make sure you're comfortable with the premium every month. If we need to reduce the premium, great. If we need to increase the premium because you want more coverage, we can do that too. But at this point, you can think about it at that point, because then we know that you've got the coverage that, okay, again, embedded command, that you were looking for, so that all those bad things won't happen to your family, right? And you're covered immediately when I submit the application, because they have this thing called conditional coverage, where should you die during this underwriting process, then the company will pay the death benefit out. So you kind of got this conditional coverage going on. So really, you've got free insurance. Okay, so that's what happens. You don't think about it until this point, which could be, you know, maybe a couple weeks from now. Now, in the chance where they may say no, and they could for all kinds of reasons, and they're going to do a background check on your medical history and so on. If they say no, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you 3 other options with other insurance companies that I feel more confident you can get. Okay? So does this process make sense to you? Does this sound good to you? Okay? Does this look good to you? Right? How does this feel to you? Okay? That's a whole nother teaching right there. And they're going to say something. They're going to make a little decision. This is a little decision. The little decision is they're going to pick one that they like that will cover them. They're going to help me fill out an application on it. We're going to send it in. Those are a series of little decision, little decision, little decision, little decision. They don't make the big decision until they receive it back in the mail. See, it's not a big deal. But here's what I'm going to find out. I'm going to hear, this is where I smoke out objections. This is what I want. I want them to tell, well, we weren't really sure about what we wanted to do. Okay, I'm confused. You were very sure about what would happen to you, Mary, if you didn't get this. All I'm talking about here is getting you immediate coverage on a conditional basis while they're doing the underwriting, and then you really don't make any decision until we actually get you approved. So that's all I'm saying. It's just, you're not really making any major decision. Right now, we're just seeing what you qualify for and to see if you qualify for it. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, good. Or they could come up with all kinds of other objections, but I want to know it here, and that will help me determine whether or not they're the 30% pretenders or the 70% contenders, right? Because the 30% that don't love their families will give me the objection, and if they're the 30%, I stop the process right here. I don't go further. I don't show them my rates. I say, well, I'll tell you what, when you're ready, when you feel ready to take care of your family, then give me a call back, but I need to take off. I need to take care of this other family. Well, aren't you going to give us some rates or whatever? It's like, I can give you all kinds of rates. I can give you cheap rates, expensive rates. I can give you valuable rates that you're going to get a lot out of. But if you're not ready to like really go through this little process right here, then I'm really not prepared to really go into everything else with you. When you feel ready to take care of your family, then just give me a call back. I'll come over. Don't give them rates. Some of y'all think the rates are going to close them. Oh my gosh, they're going to steal your rates and they're going to shop it around to every Tom, Dick, and Harry agent out there in the world, right? Golly, you're just begging. You become a beggar. Don't be a beggar in this thing. Don't beg people to make you money. All you're doing is asking questions to serve them. You're determining if this is a worthy couple to serve. Are they worth your time? Because remember, this isn't just tonight. When you close them and take care of them, you're going to call them every year. You're going to come over to their house. Maybe it's every other year, every third year, they want you to come over, and then you're writing something else up. But you are hanging there with them. It's a client for life, right? That's the commitment you're making. And you're trying to go through this filter process to determine if you're sitting in front of the 70% that love their families or the 30% pretenders that are faking you out that don't love their families. The 30% that don't deserve to be your friend. Okay? I'm not there to make friends, man. I'm there to filter out the 30% or filter in the 70%. That's what I'm there for. I'm going to serve the 70% that deserve my time, my expertise, my access to 15 different insurance companies, my love and care that they get the right thing done for their families. The 30% don't deserve that. So why would I invest 1 minute, 1 second with a family that doesn't love their families enough? I'm leaving, man. Well, aren't you going to give us prices? I'm sorry, Joe. I really am not prepared to do that. But when you feel ready, here's my card. I'm out of there. I'm going to the next family that loves. I'm going to see if the next one loves their family that deserves my time. Do you see what I'm saying? The reason why people don't close, majority of the reason, 80% of the time you don't close is because these 3 steps here, it's somewhere here that you didn't accomplish the bond rapport strong enough. You see how everything builds on the previous step before. So you can't get a good upfront contract if you didn't find good enough pain. You can't get good enough emotional pain unless you built enough strong bond and rapport. Do you see how you cannot go forward well enough if you didn't do each step well enough? And if it blows up here or here, it's because you didn't do the previous one well enough. So you got to go back. So if you get hung up here, you got to go back to pain. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were worried about all those issues that Mary and the kids would have to go through if we didn't get it. So I'm confused. I'm confused. All right? Do you see how that works? So it's a series of little decisions along the way, little decisions on whether or not they answer your question about their birth date, little decisions on their height and weight, little decisions on when you can come over, little decisions of opening up the door to you and letting you in their house, little decisions of whether they like you in the first 30 seconds because you took your shoes off, you wiped your feet off, took your shoes off in their house, and then you loved on their pet. Or you said something nice to them, or you just kind of, anyway, show them that you really care. You want to take care of them, right? Little decisions on digging into the deep part of the pain process where they share with you the emotional issue that's going to be caused if you don't take care of them tonight. And then little decisions on the upfront contract. Here, are they good with following this process? It's not a think about it night to night. And then you tell them that. Like, tonight's not a think about it night to night. Joe, Mary, tonight's not a think about it tonight, because all we're going to do is do this. And then once we know you're approved, then you got something to think about, right? Then you got something to think about. And you're nodding your head up and down, right? The 20% is you didn't maybe show them the right proposal that they can pick, that they can afford. So maybe 20% of the time it's usually here, all right? So that's kind of where that breaks down. Does this make sense? Little decisions along the way, the yes, 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 you close the deal. And then when you come back, another little decision is, do you like it or you don't like it? Remember, I did tell them that they can cancel it. I didn't tell them they can cancel it here. This is where they think about whether to increase the coverage or decrease the coverage, whether they can afford the payment or that we can drop it or even we can even raise it. But I did not give them the choice of canceling this policy because I took them all the way here where they love their family enough that they want to go for this. And then, hey, great news, Joe and Mary, you got approved. When it gets to your house, give me a call. But then I'll call back 2 weeks later. Hey, did you get that policy? Oh, yeah, that must be this big envelope. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've got 5-10 minutes between appointments. Tonight I can come over, and then I can go over that with you. Bam. The final decision. Will they let you come over to open it up with them? Then you placed it, man. And then you've really confirmed that they're the 70%. Does that make sense? So the bottom line is, let them make a series of small decisions in this process. The ATM is a process by which they make small decisions. They don't make any major decisions. They make small decisions with the ATM. Every slide is a small decision. Every slide is another little small decision. Every slide is another little small decision. Circle the one that you feel the most comfortable with. Every slide is a little small decision. ERS, prescription discount card, annuity opportunities for the green sheet, final questions. Hey, do you feel good about taking care of your family today for 85 bucks a month? Whatever. And then the recruiting questions. Do you know anyone that might want to do this? All right? I know it's a little bit crazy, but I'm just urgent. I want you to understand this. I want you to practice this. I want you to get this. Because this thing works. It works like a charm, man. All right. That is it. I hope that helped you all. And man, oh, I got a chat. I'm sorry. I wasn't monitoring chat. Talk about the heaving line concept of sales. I've never heard the heaving line. I don't know what that means. Anyway, all right, gang, rock on. Take care. Let's do